mindset. We're going to talk a little bit about actions and how we can make sure that we stay in purposeful and in action. And then we're going to talk about building a pipeline and what that looks like, okay? And I'm going to do that through sharing with you some of my personal experiences. And then at the end, of course, I wouldn't be a bowl coach if I didn't talk to you about bowl pivot, right? And what it's like. So those are the things we're going to cover. Emily, does that sound good to you?
Sounds great.
Awesome. And I see a lot of people on here that I've coached bold for, or that I've seen you in the bold room. So awesome. Good to see you, Jackie. I see Jackie on here. And so let's get started really quickly. Let's talk about mindset a little bit, okay? So let's be honest, right? Like, we've been in this quarantine, stay-at-home state for, I don't know, a month, somewhere around there, yeah, 4 or 5 weeks. And I'd like for you in the chat box to write an honest, no holds barred, like, be willing to be real comment around how you're feeling at this very moment. Right now, as you stand or sit here, I'm standing. So some of you may be standing or sitting. As you're there, write in the chat box for me, and let's get really a lot of comments going. And there's 60, 80, 90 people here now. It's just growing. Tell me, how are you feeling? I feel silly for starting a real estate career. Okay, awesome. That's an honest, be honest. Let me see some comments. I'm over it. I'm ready to go. Yeah. Katrina, I'm with you. Are you ready to go outside, Katrina? Are you ready to go do something other than stay home? Annoyed, yeah. Happy, right? Again, you can unmute. Some people are saying, I'm panicked about entering real life again, yet anxious to expand. Perfect. The comments are just flowing in. I love it. I feel defeated. I feel rested and optimistic and ready. I like that one. I'm anxious, struggling with the homeschooling. I need people. So you know what's cool is that my high influencers, if you know anything about DISC, right? My high eyes, my huggers in the world, we're freaking out because we haven't hugged anybody lately, right? My huggers, like, we need to hug something other than our own family right now. They're freaking out. The people who don't like hugs, they're like, this is perfect. Humans, stay away from me. All right, I miss people. I'm feeling overwhelmed with homeschooling. Okay, thank you for being so honest. Listen, I'm going to give you a quick story. I'm dedicated. I'm definitely freaking out, yet I'm learning to adapt. Okay, good. Awesome. Let me give you a quick story that will help you resonate why I feel like, I was talking to Emily and via email, and we're talking about what we're going to cover today. And you heard my bio, and it talked about my team crashing in 2017. Well, when Hurricane Harvey hit, I had about 12 pendings. Now, I know you won't ever have a hurricane in Jersey. Now, I know New York City, if you're in that area, you had a hurricane. Sandy came through. And no disrespect to what Sandy did to your area, and yet Sandy was like a strong storm compared to Hurricane Harvey, okay? And Hurricane Harvey was a Category 4, almost a 5, and it just ruined the whole city. It wiped out our city, a lot of our city, okay? And I saw the story for Hurricane Sandy there in New York area, so I understand you went through some stuff too. And yet my business was completely washed away. Overnight, I lost my pendings. I lost my listings. My team, I had a team at the time. There was 6 people on my team. They were panicking and they were struggling. And I'm going to be honest with you. I woke up the next day after Hurricane Harvey, and number one, I was stranded. The water was over the stop sign, so I couldn't leave the house. And internet connection was gone. And I'll be honest, I was feeling a lot of what you're feeling. I was feeling a little bit optimistic at the same time, because I was like, come on, it can't be that bad, right? This can't be that bad, okay? And then at the same time, I was feeling very annoyed and scared and worried. I didn't know what to do, okay? And Dinah Kokoska, some of you might remember, she called me that morning, and she said, Michael, how are you feeling? And I told her straight out, I said, Dinah, I feel defeated. I'm not sure. At the same time, I'm optimistic. And she said, here's what I need you to do. And this is some advice I'm going to give you. She said, I need you to think about why you got into real estate in the first place. What is it that made you say, I'm going to go to all these classes. I'm going to go take this state exam. I'm going to go get fingerprinted, right? I'm going to do all these things that it takes to get a license. What was it that created you to do that in the first place? And I told her the answer. And she said, okay, And the answer for me was, I wanted to build a business and a legacy for my kids. And she said, that's amazing, Michael. And yet, here's what she also said to me. She said, now I need you to understand something, that why you originally got into real estate may be different today after this has happened. In other words, your why may change. So I'm going to ask you to think about it really quickly right now, is think about why you got real estate right now. Take a couple of seconds. Why did I do this? Right? Somebody said earlier, I feel a little silly because I just got into real estate. Now, some of you are feeling happy and optimistic, and I love that, and we're going to get into that. So don't leave me here, right? Stay with me. And yet, I'm really talking to those. I need you to think about, why did I get into real estate? Just think about it for a second. Now, why you got in it may not be the same reason you stay in it right now. Are you with me? Because overnight, our business changed. Are you with me? Yes or no? Give me a thumbs up or a nod your head. At the bottom, you can do these little thumbs up or a little reaction here. I like these things. Like, stay involved with me, okay? And yet, what's going to get you through this shift? What's going to make you thrive during this moment may not be the same thing may not be the same reason you got into real estate. You may have gotten in, some people say, to help people, right? Some people say, I want to get into real estate because I want to have my own business. Some people say, I got into real estate because I like showing houses, right? And yet, that may not be enough to keep you in. So you're going to have to reevaluate. The number one lesson I want to give you right now, number one, if you're taking notes, is this. Why am I going to stay in real estate? What's going to get me to stay here? And then you don't have to answer that question now. However, when my team blew up after Hurricane Harvey and I lost all my business, which, wouldn't you agree that my business being wiped out overnight and out of my control is much like coronavirus hitting and out of our control, right? It's much like the same. The difference is, during Hurricane Harvey, the government didn't come in and say you couldn't do real estate. We couldn't do real estate because there was nothing to sell. They were all flooded, right? And now we got the government saying, well, we can't cold call in New York and in New Jersey. I'm not sure what you can or can't do, because Jackie told me, and I can't remember, Jackie, and yet I know there's some restrictions, right? I know that because nobody's like free flowing around here. And so I know that business was impacted overnight. And so I had to think to myself, and I'm asking you to think to yourself, why am I going to stay? And can I be 100% honest with you? The reason I said I'm going to stay is because I was going to prove everybody who told me I couldn't do it wrong. Right? Think about all the people telling you right now that getting your real estate license or being in real estate is crazy. Think about all the people right now who is looking at you and wondering, what are you doing and why are you doing it? Right? I had people tell me, hey, you're a bold coach. Just go coach bold. You don't have to sell real estate anymore. Why would you put yourself through that? Okay? And my answer was, I'm going to prove all the people who told me I can't do this, or prove all the people who say that it's impossible to sell in this market, or who say it's impossible to be successful with the government restrictions. I'm going to prove all those people wrong. I'm going to prove to people that even though houses are flooded and even though most of them are down to studs, that I can still build a real estate business. Are you with me? Right? A lot of us are being told, a lot of us are seeing all the minutia that's going on, and it's not good. And yet we must overcome our limiting belief. And it's a decision, my friends. It is legitimately 100% a decision that we make individually to stay in real estate. And it's 100% a decision. If you're a mega agent, it's 100% decision. And you got admin and you got payroll. It is 100% decision, mega agent, to continue to do whatever it takes to pay your people and not lay them off. It is 100%, if you're an individual agent, your decision to keep going forward and do what it is you can do and drive your business forward. Is this making sense to you? Give me some feedback on chat. And are you following what I'm saying? right? Somebody put on here, hey, I'm so done with the care calls and the texts and emails. It's not easy to be a newbie right now. I understand that. And I'm going to give you some techniques today that I think will help you get past that care call, text message, and email thing. Okay? Good. Somebody said, yes, you're making great sense. Okay, good. Now, let's talk about our mindset a little bit further. We talked about how we feel. See, in the shift book on section 1, tactic 1, Gary Keller says, get real, get right. Now, he's not just talking about get real, get right with your numbers. He's talking about getting real with how we feel and what we think. At some point, my friends, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, I got you. Are you follow what I'm saying? At some point, you got to look in the mirror and say to yourselves and talk to yourself, maybe a little weird, and yet you got to say to yourself, I got you. I'm not going to let you down. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help you be successful. Right? You got to say that to yourself because nobody else may be saying it to you. Now, I'm here to tell you you can do it. And yet, at some point, you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision, right? In order to move forward and to, within the government guidelines that we have today, find a way to be successful, okay? So I'd like to hear some hows. What have you heard so far? I've been talking for about 10 minutes. What have you heard so far that's impacted you before we go on to the next thing I'm going to talk about? Because I really want to make sure you understand that if you don't conquer the head piece, it doesn't matter. Nothing else matters, okay? Be honest with yourself. Be in control of you. Good. I can't let myself down. I like that. Thank you, Camille. I've known Camille for a little bit. Focus on the plan, not the problem. Yes, that's a bold law. Awesome. What else? What else have you heard so far? Why am I going to stay in real estate? If you can't answer that question, and by the way, all 114 of you, you need to stay in real estate. I'm not telling you to leave. I'm telling you need to answer the question, right? Why am I going to stay? Why I may change. That's absolutely right. You make the decision. Yes, I love it. Jackie Green says, I decide. I love that. Okay, now, once you've made the decision that you're going to stay, and by the way, you need to stay because I'm telling you what's going to show up on the other side is going to be amazing, okay? Right now, we're about to go through an economic shift, and this shift is going to be the biggest. It is going to be when a shift happens, Gary Keller says this. I'm just going to go with what Gary says. He says that the biggest exchange of wealth occurs during a shift. Right? Laura wrote, I love real estate. Thank you, Laura. The biggest exchange of wealth happens during a shift. And here's what's going to happen, my friends. And I get so excited about this. And this isn't fake energy. Like, this is who I am. If you know anything about me, if you've met me before, you know this is just me. Okay? I'm just a country boy from Houston, Texas, who came from nothing. Right? My mom died when I was 8 years old. I was shot in the neck in 1999. I almost died. And God gave me another chance. And now I just live life, loving life. Right? And so what I'm telling you is this. And by the way, when my team disappeared and it shut down at the end of 2017 and I had to rebuild, yeah, I was sad. Yeah, I was scared. But then I said to myself, man, I almost died. Like, I can do anything. Right? I served in the United States Marine Corps. I didn't put that in my bio, Emily. I served in the United States Marine Corps. And so I just love life. And so what I'm telling you, I'm going to tell you this, and I mean this in love. Right now, some of you may be unknowns. In other words, people don't know who you are. When your sign goes in the yard, they're like, who's that? Oh, never heard of that person. Okay? That's some of you. Right? Just be honest. You know that's true. And guess what? What's going to happen during this shift? The unknowns become the knowns. And the knowns, and I got some mega agents on here. I know there is 120-something people on here. I know that some of you are mega agents like me. Some of you sell 40, 50, 60 million. Some of you got big teams like I got, right? And guess what? Us who are known, We're going to become the unknowns if we don't continue to do what it is that we need to do. And by the way, what we did before isn't going to help us stay where we were before, okay? The work we did before got us to where we were. However, in today's economic shift and during the coronavirus, we're going to have to double up, right? Gary Keller said, double down on leads. We're going to have to double up on our efforts, double up on our lead generation so that we can still hit our goals for 2020, right? So understand that what's so amazing of this is that we're going to go, the knowns are going to either grow and become bigger, or they're going to become unknowns. And the unknowns are going to become knowns. And that's what happens in an economic shift like today. So let me give you some real life actions that we can do. Are you ready for some actions? Right? Let's talk about actions. What do we do? Because I'm tired of these care calls. Man, how many of you are tired of asking people how they're doing and lying to me and they're telling me they're doing good? They ain't doing good. We all know not everybody's doing good, right? Because we live in this Facebook world where they love their husband and then 3 weeks later they're divorced. Like, it's just the way it is, right? Let's be honest, okay? We live in this Facebook world where everything's great and perfect in our lives. And so when you call somebody and ask them how they're doing, they tell you they're doing great, and yet in the background, they're not. So number one thing I want to tell you, the first thing you need to do, and Jackie, some of your people may have heard me say this. I forget if I coached this or not. Did I give you the 4 things? I think I did. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give them to you again. However, I'm going to give them to you maybe a different angle because over the last month, I've said them so many times, I've changed them up a little bit. All right, so the first thing is you got to be a connector. You got to be somebody. And when I came out of Hurricane Harvey, the first quarter after Hurricane Harvey, I took 25 listings with just me and my assistant. Now, I told you my team blew up, but my assistant stayed. Actually, she was my buyer's agent. And what happened is her husband told her, I need you to get a regular job. And so she came to me and told me that. And I said, well, let's do a KPA. And we did it. And KPA said, admin. And I'm like, well, why are you a buyer's agent? You ain't supposed to be one of those. Okay, let's make you an admin. And she stayed around. And to this day, she's still with me almost 3 years later. She's still my admin. She's still my right-hand person, right? She's my Monica. I call her my Monica. I know it sounds possessive. I am. She's not going anywhere. All right, she's awesome. I love her. And so what I would tell you is this, got to be a connector first. You got to find people that have a need and connect the people who can solve the need with those people, okay? Find the people with the need and find the people who can solve the need and connect those two people. And that need could be something as simple as they need toiletries or they need groceries. Like, for instance, it's not good for the elderly to leave the home right now. Is that right? Well, if you happen to not be elderly and you can go do groceries for them, maybe that's something you need to do. Or if you're not elderly, or even if you are elderly and you know a service that can help the elderly, then connect them with them and help them get their groceries and their needs. Are you with me? Right? That's what happens, okay? Number 2, the second thing you need to do is you need to become a real estate resource. And the way you become a real estate resource is you put out information about real estate and about the economy, okay? You put stuff out, like for instance, I'm gonna share my screen with you really quickly here. And what you do is you just go here, and I'll tell you, this is one of the easiest things to do. You can go right here to Yahoo Finance, and Yahoo Finance will give you a bunch of articles that you can use. I'm talking about a bunch of articles that you can use about the economy and about what's happening in today. Like there's something about mortgage rates, right? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And so you can go and be a real estate resource and talk to people about what's happening all around the world. What's happening in New Jersey, what's happening in New York, right? What's happening in other parts of the country, and you become a resource so that people come to you. Gary Keller has been telling us for years to be the economic expert for people, and yet we haven't, all of us have listened, so now it's time to do it. Now, I know in New York and New Jersey, you're still having closings, so put that out there about the closings. I know that you're still taking listings. You got, if for instance, if I'm in an area, if I'm in Hoboken, New Jersey, let's say, that's part of your region, right, Emily? Hoboken? Okay, let's say I'm in Hoboken, okay? And let's say that for all of Hoboken, there was 100 new active listings yesterday, and 30 new pendings and 25 new closings, right? Okay. Then I'm going to put that in an email or in a text message or on a social media, right? Same thing in Connecticut. In Connecticut, if I have closings happening, okay, or I have something happening in real estate, I'm going to put that out there. And in Command and Designs, they have designs for us to do this, right? Now, some of you are doing this already, and yet, are you doing it at a high level? In other words, are you doing it consistently? Are you doing it every day? Are you doing it every week, right? Okay. And then when it comes to real estate resource, be an economic resource. Talk about PPP. Talk about small business loans. Talk about what's happening with interest rates. Educate the buyers and sellers that are out there via social media, text message, and email. It's even more critical today than ever before. Those of us who ignored social media, I got two words for you. Stop it. Stop ignoring it. Right? Like, I'm not a social media guy. You go look me up on Facebook, you'll see that I post, and yet I don't post that much. And yet I'm working on getting better at that. Okay? I'm just old school. I don't believe you care that I eat spaghetti today, and yet apparently a lot of people care. And so you got to post. Okay? You got to get active in social media. Right? The third thing you need to do during this crisis, in order to make sure that you stay relevant and purposeful, is you got to be a positive voice in a negative world. Be somebody who's positive in a negative world. Right now, the world is full of negativity, okay? Oh, let me back up for a second. When you post those articles from Yahoo Money, what I love about those articles is they're very neutral, okay? And please don't put too much commentary. Like, this is why the government is dumb. Don't do that. Right? Or this is why I love the government, whichever way you flow. Okay? Just put, like, I'll tell you what I do. I'll say, this is an interesting article, check it out, and I'll put it on there. Now, I didn't say I liked the article. I didn't say I even agreed with the article. I just said it's an interesting article. Does that make sense to you? Yes? Give me a nod or a thumbs up or something, right? Yes, Angela, you're right. Be neutral, okay? Be neutral, because not everybody believes the way you believe. If I told you some of my beliefs, some of you would think I'm crazy, and other of you would give me a high five and think I'm awesome, okay? And so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, okay? To the rest of the world, they want to believe that you believe what they believe. That's all that matters. And you don't want to alienate your business, okay? So now, number 3, be a positive voice in a negative world. Now, I know that most of you know how to do this. However, Emily, I would be crazy if I didn't take a chance and show you. My friends, this is how easy it is. You don't have to be like a brilliant person. Just go to positive memes, click images, and the Google, yeah, I called it the Google. I know, I'm just joking. The Google gives you all the answers you need, right? I posted this one yesterday. All you got to do is right-click it, save it, boom, you put it on your Facebook, you look like a genius. Okay? And you can do all kinds of things on here. And so, listen, be a positive voice. Do something to make sure that others see. Oh, you didn't see my screen? Let me show you again. I'm sorry. Somebody said you didn't see my screen. Oh, you know why? Because I chose the wrong one. There we go. Can you see my screen now? Yes? Okay, I apologize. So just go here, positive memes. Thank you for telling me that. I made a mistake. Okay, images. And look at this. The Google makes you smart. Okay? It's kind of a joke, okay? My daughter doesn't like when I say the Google, so I just say it for the fun of it. All right, so, and this is the one I used yesterday. I right-clicked it, I saved it. If you went to my Facebook, you would see that this is the one I used yesterday. And it just makes you smart. You can do any of these, right? You can do funny memes, right? You can do any of those, okay? You got to be careful what's on here, though, right? You can do Corona memes. Okay, even though I don't think it's something to laugh about because there's people dying and infected. However, you can do all kinds of stuff, okay? It's up to you what you want to do. And you don't have to come up with it on your own. Okay? Do you see how easy this is? This is super easy. Now, some of you may know all of this, and yet remember, this is about being. Okay, remember in bold, we talk about be, do, achieve. It's be, do, and then you achieve one day. So this is us being. You're being a connector, right? You're being a real estate resource. And you're being a positive voice in a negative world. What's up, Ant? What's up, buddy? Okay. The fourth thing is be real. Be honest with yourself and be real with others. Listen, let's say Emily and I were talking, okay? And Emily said and called me and said, hey, Michael, how are you doing? And I said, I'm doing great. When Emily gets off the call, and you can chat and tell me if you think I'm wrong or right, would you agree she gets off that call thinking everything's fine in my world? Would you agree with that? She thinks everything's good, yes? Yeah. What if I was honest with Emily, and Emily said to me, hey, Michael, how are you doing? And I said, you know, the family's doing great, Emily. However, with this coronavirus, my real estate business has really been affected. So if you know anybody looking to buy or sell, do you think you could help me out with that? You think you could think of me? Now, what do you think Emily does when she gets off the phone then? Well, if she's your friend and someone who cares, which she does because she asked you how you're doing, she's going to do her best to help you. Would you agree with that? She's going to think of you because you were honest with her, because you told her the truth that your real estate business has taken a little bit of a dip and you could use some help around that. She's going to find ways to help you, because regardless of what you know, what you believe, people want you to succeed. People like you, whether you realize they like you or not, they do. It's a funny thing. People like you and they want you to be successful. Okay? They want you to do well. So be honest with them. Now, if your real estate business is doing great, then tell them your real estate business is doing great and you could always use more. Okay? Like right now, I'll be honest, our real estate business is going well. It's not horrible, and yet it's not great. It's going well. So when people say how's business, I say it's going well. I can always use more. Right? Okay? Paul, I'll be honest with you, Paul. I see your comment. I'll never ask that question again. That's not true. She'll get off the call and think of how she could help you, right? Because you were honest with her. And you'll never know if you don't ask, though. Our limiting belief tells us lots of times not to ask a question or not to give the honest truth to people because they don't want to hear it, and yet they do want to hear it. If they asked you how you're doing, you owe them the response to be honest with them, right? Think about when you call people and you ask them how they're doing and they say good. When you get off the phone, you think they're good. Let me give you an example of this. I had a lady, and this is for Paul and everybody else. I had a lady who I called her and I messed up a little bit, and I asked her, how are you doing? And she said, I'm doing great. This is a couple weeks ago, by the way. She goes, I'm doing great. I said, how are the kids? Oh, they're doing good. Awesome. Later that week, I get on Facebook and I see a Facebook Live video with her on it, and they're shaving her head because she has breast cancer. Well, guess what? I didn't even know she had breast cancer. And when I asked her how she was doing, she said she was doing good. She didn't even mention breast cancer. So then I text her and I said, hey, love the video. Congratulations. You're going to beat breast cancer. I'm just curious, how can I help you? And you know what she did? She texted me back and she said, Michael, you know, when you called, I didn't want to tell you anything negative, but I got breast cancer a few months ago. My husband just lost his job and I got furloughed to part-time. So we're really hurting for money, to be honest with you. And I said, would you allow me to buy you groceries? And she said, absolutely. Whatever you can do, would appreciate it. So then we ended up giving her a gift card to groceries so they can go buy her own, right? She can go out and get her groceries. Her husband can go get them. And I would have never known that, though, if I would have asked her, if she would have told me how she's doing. She just didn't feel comfortable telling me. Does that make sense? I didn't have that relationship with her for her to tell me these things. Does that make sense to you? So instead of asking people how they're doing, that's a good way. You should do that. Don't get me wrong. And yet, what I'd also like to teach you is ask them, how can I serve you, or what can I do for you? Is there anything I can do for you? Anything you need? How can I serve you? What can I do for you? Okay? And guess what happens? Yes, Angela, you're right. Now you do have the relationship. That's right. I didn't have it before, Angela. You're right. And so what I would tell you, and I'm human, by the way. If you've ever been in my bold room, I'm very real and very, very human. I'll tell you where I messed up. And that's where I messed up. I didn't ask her, how can I serve you and what can I do for you? I just said, how you doing? In other words, when you know what I was doing, let's be honest, I was just checking off a box. Oh, I'm supposed to call my database and see how they're doing. Okay, hey, how's it going? Oh, it's okay, sounds good. See you later. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. How you doing? I was just checking off a box, right? I wasn't truly growing that relationship and asking her, what can I do for you? Is there a way I can serve you? Okay? And so what I would like you to do is to start to do that, is ask people. The people said, I'm tired of care calls. Good. Then don't call about care per se. Call and see how you can serve. Now, you got to be willing to serve once they ask you, right? I love the chat. Keep chatting. I love it. So somebody said, how do you make them feel comfortable to open up with you without being pushy? Ariel, that's a great question. You were in my boat, Ariel. So what I would tell you is to ask that question. Is there something I can do for you? Is there anything you need? Or can I serve you? Now, you can change that language based on being in the Northeast. Look, I know you're in New York and you guys are tough, and New Jersey and Connecticut. I get all that, right? The language is different than down in the South. I get that. Just change it up. The words can be different. Just you get what I'm saying. Am I right? Yes? Give me a thumbs up. You get what I'm saying. The words can be different, okay? Okay? I understand. I've taught bold 7 times in your area. I know the culture. I get it. And what I say down south may be different what I say up north and northeast. I get that. Just show empathy and make sure people know that you're there to serve them, right? Because here's what's going to happen. Now, to recap those 4 things: be a connector, be a real estate resource, be a positive voice in a negative world, and be real with people and be honest with them. Let them know where you're at and let them know you're there to serve, okay? And of course, use all the social media stuff that you can think of, right? All right. We talked about mindset. We talked about those 4 things. Those are actions you can do. Now, all this is based on you setting a calendar and a schedule around the homeschooling you're doing, around all the family stuff you're doing because everybody's home, right? Remember, in order to be successful, we must follow a calendar. Gary Keller is telling us 4 hours of legion a day. 40 contacts a day instead of 20 like we teach in bold. 4 hours of legion a day, right? Now, how do I do that? Michael, I got kids at home. I'm a mom. I'm a dad. Well, you might have to segment it. You may have to do an hour here and then an hour there and an hour here, and that'll get you your 4 hours. It may be that you and your spouse or partner, whoever's at home with you, that y'all have to rotate who takes care of what and when, right? The key part is that we're only a month into this. And I think, and all signs show that we're going to keep continuing in this pattern. Would you agree with me that we're going to continue in this stay-at-home place? Would you agree that that's probably what's going to happen over the next 30 to 60 days? Yes? So we're going to have to come to reality that this is life, and this is the life that we have today. So we got to go to bed at the same time. We got to wake up at the same time. We got to wake up and take a shower and get dressed. We got to create a schedule for our kids, okay? Yeah, very likely, Lucy said, for the next 30, 60, 90 days. That's right. So now, this little time we've had to adjust, I'm going to be honest with you in love that the adjustment time is over. It's time to get to work, right? It's time to do the double down on lead gen in 4 hours a day. And I know you can't cold call people, but let's talk about some things we do. So I'd like to get the chat going here. I've been talking a little bit. What are you doing specifically to lead generate in a time when you're not really supposed to call people that you don't know? I know that's New York only, okay? And in New Jersey and Connecticut, if you're in those 2 states, I'd like to hear, how are you building a pipeline today? Let's put it in the chat. Tell me some things you're doing to grow your database outside of calling your dad, just calling the people you know. Okay, somebody wrote, I'm finding pandemic rhythm. Okay, good. Social media ads, John, I like that. Past clients, good. What else? What else are you doing to grow your database and to meet new people every day?
I have a suggestion for everybody on the call is we post our YouTube links every day on the Facebook page. So I would copy and paste those YouTube links and send it out to your clients or anybody that you know is interested in real estate. That way they can see what we're doing and how we've been trying to motivate everybody throughout this crisis.
Yeah, absolutely. Who else? And you can come off of mute, guys. I know normally at 2 o'clock y'all don't, and yet you can today. Come off of mute. I'd like to hear your voice. Watch the buyers who've been on your website 6+ months and reach out. I love that, Margaret. Great job. Tesla asked, we're on YouTube, Emily.
I'm posting a link in the chat box. It's a spreadsheet with all of our YouTube links that we've had on there. You have to request access to it, and then I'll grant you the access. And then on there, we have about 70 calls.
I love that. I love it. Right? Hey, so here's one thing that I heard somebody say the other day. They said that they reached out to their church and said, hey, are there anybody I can call on behalf of the church for you? And they did. And they made calls on behalf of the church. Now, do you think that when they made those calls, they eventually, some of them turned into real estate calls? Yeah, because people ask them, what do they do or whatever. However, they were really calling just to serve the church. So those weren't cold calls, right? They were calling on behalf of the church. And yet people ask you what you do or why you're calling. And sometimes these things happen, right? Social media ads is a big thing right now. Handwritten notes, man, I would tell you, get back to writing those handwritten notes. Just do 5 a day, okay? Yeah, I love William says, take a walk in the neighborhood with a KW hat on and stay 6 feet away and people will ask you questions, right? I have y'all want to hear something funny? I wasn't going to tell y'all this. I just think it's funny though. We have a neighbor on our corner down the street from me, about 6 houses down. And almost every night, I would say most nights, 5 out of 7 nights, there are people in that person's front lawn about 10 feet away in this giant circle having adult beverages. Like it's just circle takes up their whole front lawn. And I think it's just hilarious. And yet there's just people talking to people. And our restrictions in Texas aren't as deep as yours might be. And yet if you can go outside and meet some people and keep your distance and do what you're supposed to do, then do that, okay? So there's all types of things you can do. Reach out to people and just offer to be of service. Okay, let me give you this last thing. Right now, what we do today will affect you 90 days from today, right? The actions you take, and we talked about that just now. I gave you some actions. Be a connector, be a resource, be a positive voice, and be real with people, right? You can do those 4 things, okay? We talked about making calls and calling people. People gave suggestions on Zoom, some things they're doing. Use the YouTube link that Emily talked about, right? Do different things. Call past clients. Don't forget about those past clients, okay? If you recently left another job, think about those people that you used to work with and call them. Maybe they're not in your database, okay? Here's what I'll tell you is going to happen. 90 days from now, you're going to say what happened. And there's 2 ways to say what happened, right? The first way is, wow, what happened? That was awesome. The last 90 days has been amazing. How did you defeat the coronavirus issue? And how did you get all that business? And Michael Brand and all these people could come to you and say, wow, this was amazing. What did you do, Colleen? What did you do, Brenda? What did you do, Aunt? What did you do, Barbara? That's one way to say what happened. Would you agree with me? That's one way. The other way to say it is, oh my gosh, what just happened? Right? The other way is to say, oh, what happened? How did I get here? What happened to my life? Right? What's going on? See, there's 2 ways to say what happened. And which way are you going to be? Are you going to be the first way where people are coming to you and say, man, what happened? How did your business blow up? What did you do? How did you get so much business during this time? Or are you going to be the other one who are people saying, what happened to you? What happened? Why did your business fail? Why did you not get business? Why did you have to leave real estate? Why did you have to get another job or part-time job? What happened? See, we have two ways to see the words what happened. And I'm going to challenge you today to get out there and to contact 40 people every day about real estate. Come from a place of contribution and talk to them about real estate. We must overcome our limiting beliefs that people don't want to hear from you. They have nothing better to do than hear from you right now. There are some lonely people out there right now. Some people who have zero human connection. Some people who don't have family in your area. They moved there and they're single and they don't have any family and they only know people from work or people like you that they've met somewhere, right? I think you'll find that people are even more excited to hear from you than you ever believed. Okay? So I'm going to challenge you to be the first one where people ask you, what did you do during this time? And for you to be super passionate about doing that, whatever it is, being a connector, being a real estate resource, being a positive voice, being real and honest with people, right? And get down to action today, okay? Somebody wrote just now, I've been posting short IG videos on gratitude daily. I love that, Saba. That's a great idea, okay? All right, I'm going to open it up here for some questions. You're welcome to ask questions or comments. What did you hear? I'd like to hear some ahas. What did you hear? What impacted you over the last 45 minutes? There's 116 of you here. What helped you? Because one of the biggest things is we don't want to waste your time. That's the biggest thing, right? We want to make sure that we provide value. And so did I provide value today? And what did you hear today that will help your business? And then we'll talk about Bold Pivot real quickly. You can chat or you can come off of mute.
I have to come off of mute, Michael. I can't stay muted for too long. How are you? It's good to see you, my friend. Thank you.
Same here, Camille. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing it. So I like it because you always reinforce everything that I've always done all my life with the positive stuff and being a connector. I find that in whatever business I've ever was in was to connect people. I talk to people, see what they need. I go out and find it. So I like that. And I think the agents can benefit from basically a lot of the value that you have given them. So I figured I'd be the first one. No one else was talking. So thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the biggest piece is we got to move forward, my friends. You got to realize that the adjustment period is over, okay? It's time to move forward, and it's time to get into action. And it's time to remember why we started real estate, and then tell yourself why you're going to stay.
Absolutely.
I think that's a key. We've got to make a decision on why we're going to stay. Okay, who else? Who else would like to come off of mute and share their thoughts of what they learned? And I see what you guys are saying. I love it, right? Handwritten notes, the 4 actions. What else? Any questions?
You can go to, it's Kathy from KW Morristown. When you shop at Trader Joe's, all their cards are 99 cents. And I've been picking them up and writing a few cards and then going, I think last week, like I went to 2 nurses' house that I know, and I delivered them a meal that you get, like a lot of the restaurants are doing sponsoring. You would have thought I handed them $1 million. I did it for somebody else. I think we've given out now, must have given out like 10 meals, and they really, really appreciate it and put a card with it.
I love it. That's amazing. Great job. So I want to wrap up by sharing with you this little thing we got called Bold Pivot starting on Monday, May 5th. It's going to be from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern time on the Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's going to be recorded, okay? And on Wednesdays and Fridays is going to be what we have is called Coach's Corner. And Coach's Corner is going to be 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern time where you can come and go and get extra coaching from both coaches. There's going to be a select few of us that are going to be involved. Probably about half of the coaches will be on those Coaches Corners, right? And these are going to be all live streamed through Facebook, okay? And so you got an opportunity for 8 hours of coaching every week for the month of May for $99. And so the way you register, you go to mapscoaching.com, and we're going to ask all of you to participate, okay? Because we know that this will be the step that you need in order to launch the next season, which is June, July, and August. Remember, what we do in May will affect us in August. The reason you still got closings now, and the reason you may have listings now, is because of the work you did 60 to 90 days ago, right? No, nothing on Mondays, Kathy. And so in order to make sure we maintain those, get more listings and get more buyers, right? And that we also get contracts, okay, even though we're not cold calling, is we got to do something different. And Bold Pivot will be that opportunity for you to do that different thing. It's $99. It's on Tuesday and Thursday, mapscoaching.com. Please register. And thank you for all the positive comments. Tell me I'm motivating or that I helped you. Guys, let me just tell you, my business crashed and it went to nothing. And I had to make a decision. And the decision was that I wanted to prove everybody wrong who told me I couldn't do it. As a matter of fact, I had some people laughing at me because I was a bowl coach at the time. They're like, ha ha, look at that bowl coach, his business crashed. Well, you know what? I said, you know what? I'm just going to implement everything I've ever learned in Bold, and we're going to rebuild this thing. And it's taken us a little bit of time to rebuild it. And yet now we're on pace to do the best thing we've ever done, right? Most units, the most volume we've done in a long, long time. And so you can do the same thing, right? Find the reason why you're staying, okay? And go after the business. I'm going to answer some questions. Do we need to have something ready for Tuesday? No, Colleen, I would suggest that if you have the shift book and MREA book and the one thing book, that you have those things available because they're going to be coaching from some of that. You don't need anything. And by the way, I sat in on a practice run for step 1 on the Tuesday class. I sat on it this morning. My friends, it is amazing. And it's all about what's happening in today's market. We're going to coach you on what's happening on today's market and what you need to do to be successful. Today was just a little snippet of that, and we're going to give you the full-fledged next week starting May 5th. Please register. Registration is going to probably shut down on May 2nd is what I think I heard. And so we'd love for you to be there, okay? Emily said, don't hang up. I'll be sharing call updates when Michael's done. I'm all done, Emily. Thank you so much. I trust this was good. By the way, give me a thumbs up or give me one of these reactions if you plan on joining Bold Pivot with me. I just want to check that. All right, good. Awesome.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. I know the agents, from seeing the chat comments, they really appreciated this call today too. So thank you so much for joining us. If there's anything we could do for you, just let us know.
Thank you.
Michael Brand will definitely be on a call with like your region, market center team, whatever you want. So just let us know. For everybody, tomorrow we're going to have David Voorhees. He's coming on at 2 p.m. We'll be using the same link that we have today. Then on Monday, we actually have Diana Kokoska joining us. So she'll be on Monday at 2 p.m. And then Tuesday, starting Tuesday and moving forward, our calls are going to be changing to 1 p.m. So that way it doesn't interfere with Bold. And Chris Flores will be joining us. And then we don't have the dates officially marked yet, but we have Vanessa Pollock and Brendan Steiner from the Steiner Sports company. He'll be joining us on one of our calls next week too. So as promised, what we always do, we usually do a funny video at the end. I didn't really find anything funny today, so I have more of a positive attitude animation. So if you want to stay on the call,